Welcome back to another weekly GMBN Tech Show. Come up on this week's show, we check out some cool new camera bags from Evoc. We check out that really cool new trail bike from Orbea, the new Occam. There's a 36-inch wheel monster of a bike and some wicked regular stuff from you guys. Okay, so straight into news, and first up is that new Orbea, which looks phenomenal.
It looks fantastic. Neil was out in Spain, but at their factory, taking through the custom paint.
You get some good busman's holidays, that guy, doesn't he?
He does all right. Yeah. But no, the bike looks incredible. The geometry is really progressive, and
just take a look at that chart.
It looks super nice. And a 77-degree seat tube, which is actually getting pretty steep, considering the pole is 80 degrees, and that's considered radical.
Yeah, and although it certainly looks more radical, I think, on the pole than it does on the Orbea.
Yeah, but what I think's interesting is the fact that only a couple of years ago, maybe 74 degrees was relatively middle of the road.
Yeah.
So now we're equal distance from the extreme to where we were. You know what I mean? I think that's quite interesting.
I did ride a bike recently that had I don't know what the number was, had quite a slack seat angle, and I kind of forgotten how bad it can be. So this was a cross-country bike. It was an older bike, so you can't really compare it. But what I did notice that even with a suspension like on the firmer setting, I think it had an old CTD shock on it, just because of that slack seat angle, it wouldn't stop sort of bobbing up and down, and it was nothing to do with suspension platform on there at all. This was all about my position on the bike. It just makes you realise how much more sense the steep seat angle makes by putting you further over the BB.
Yeah, I get a very particular type of knee pain on slack angled bikes.
Yeah, and it's because you're rocking backwards and forwards.
And it's you're constantly kind of recruit and drag and So no, I think it's great to see. That being said, that's not to. Still, bikes is still a good bike, I guess, but it's cool just to see this trend filtering through, and I think it looks really good. Some of the colours look amazing as well.
And I tell you what, I did speak to Neil about it, and he said that thing absolutely flies. So high hopes for that one being a good bike.
And what is very interesting is it's got the rear pivot that goes straight through the axle. Yeah. Similar to the ABP, the anti-braking pivot.
That's right. Trek. Yeah, you showed me that.
So I don't know how they got around that, or maybe its patent's expired or something. I don't know.
I'm not sure actually. We'll have to find out. Unless any of you guys know, let us know. But there's a good chance it might have been like the FSR link that Specialized Enforced was in North America, of course. And there are other brands making similar bikes with that, like Cube, for example, had
or Lapierre.
So there could be something along those lines, but
only time will tell, I guess. Yeah, very interesting.
I noticed that you took a bit of a liking to the 36-inch wheel bike.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so I actually saw that bike out at CIU. I couldn't believe what I was seeing because the guy, this bike's got carbon 36-inch wheels on it, and they are massive.
Ooh, yeah.
But he was telling me that the 36-inch wheels, right, the reason he made them carbon wasn't to be flashy. Oh. Guess how much the steel or the other versions weighed?
I don't even want to know.
10 kilos.
No.
Like, it was so heavy.
Oh my.
It's all bespoke made, basically, this bike. And as crazy as it is pretty flipping impressive.
Yeah, and what I think's cool is I'm not saying that they particularly are something that I find that desirable.
That's not what you said earlier.
No, what I said earlier, and I'm going to be very explicit, is depending on purpose, I think, and I'm probably going to get a bit of a stick for saying this, but going to the extreme in diameter is just as ridiculous, or not ridiculous, as going to the extreme in terms of tyre width. They're both extremes, and if we're going to say fat bikes have a purpose, which undoubtedly they do, then maybe there's a niche market.
What are you suggesting a 36-inch wheel bike purpose?
Stair riding, man. The stair riding world championships this year in Milan.
Hotly contested, I reckon, by Jones.
Oh yeah.
He'll tell you that the only thing that matters is an e-bike, but less we talk about them.
Well, he nearly had a heart attack going up the stairs in Girona. Maybe he was scoping it out.
Jones, he normally has a heart attack with most of the time, I think. But no, the bike is pretty impressive regardless what people think of it, and I did quite like the sort of cafe racer bar position, which just looks bonkers.
It looks a bit like the bat. It's not a bat scooter. The bat scooter is a fair thing, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Lock and load, baby. I think good on him.
And I'm not the biggest fan of it, to be honest, but I do love it when people really make a decent bike that's very alternative. Like, can't knock that. I think it's cool.
And I want to be clear. I'm not saying I'm a big fan. I'm just saying it's interesting. I love it.
Right, what else we got then? Okay, so Shimano have got that RX-8 gravel shoe.
Yes.
That's kind of cool. And again, we're trying to filter in a little bit of gravel stuff, but it looks like a good trail shoe, to be fair.
It does. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to be doing too much hiker bike in it.
Yeah.
But
if you're pedaling,
it looks incredible. And haven't Shimano turned it on in terms of style?
Yeah.
They were.
I think Shimano shoes as well most of their shoes are fantastic. They can't really go too far wrong. They fit really well. They've got really good soles on them. I mean, in this case, a little bit different. So for off the bike, not quite so good maybe.
Yeah.
But you're right. The styling is really quite cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, only a few years ago, and this is somebody as a Shimano fanboy saying this, Shimano, like, they were kind of the anarchy. They were kind of a bit like, oh God, this guy, they're in the Shimano kit. But now Shimano is really stylish. It's taken the forefront, and actually it looks like those, custom painted shoes you see on the pro circuit. They look incredible.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll see anybody using them over the Spire.
Possibly. Are they any lighter? I didn't check the specs.
Lighter,
yeah, so in that case, then yeah,
potentially.
Super light shoes are popular with the XC folks, so why not? Yeah, I think that's good. Something that particularly takes my interest is Evoc have launched a new range of camera-friendly bags. So they've got one called the Capture Stage, or the Stage Capture, and it looks much more like a normal riding bag, but you can still fit in a pretty decent camera with a telephoto and a couple of wides. And they've got like a hip pack as well.
Oh yeah.
I've ordered both of these because I've been on a search for something compact to put my camera gear in that's not a full-size bag, and it's quite hard. I'm going to let you know what they're like when they turn up, because I just taken a punt on these. But the hip pack, you can take like a little compact mirrorless camera in there with a small lens, and it's all protected. I think it just looks amazing. This is them on the screen now. They're both available in this cool sort of olive green, I guess you'd call it. It's quite light for olive, and the grey colourway as well. The bigger one, the Stage, is 16 litres. It takes a hydration pack in there. It's got the Evoc style big stretchy waistband on them, so you can really crank them up tight without sort of constricting you, stopping it moving around. They've both got the airflow system on the back, multiple pockets, and it's made by Evoc, so it's a pretty good pump, I think.
Camera gear is expensive.
Yeah.
Are you protecting the camera gear from you, or are you protecting yourself from the camera gear?
Bit of both. To be fair,
'cause it must be a really, we want it coming through the backpack, I suppose.
I mean, all my old Canon stuff I didn't care about too much because it's quite burly. You don't, in the packs you need to carry that stuff are quite heavy. And I have got an old Evoc pack, a CP26, and I've fallen off loads with that one, and everything's been fine. Nice. But the new mirrorless stuff is far smaller,
right?
So you can get away with smaller packs, and at the end of the day, I basically take my camera with me on most rides. So I think this is really cool. It means you can do more photos and more video creation on the trail. And I know that the guy behind that camera right now, he's going to be really interested when these turn up as well, because I know he's a sucker for a camera bag. But enough about that. Let's talk about Chris Kovarik. What's he playing at? An old M1 he's dug out, so an intense. So.
What an absolute legend. Yeah, he was loaned this bike, which was from 2001, and he seeded it at the Pro GRT in North America.
To be fair, brave man for riding a bike that old, that hard.
But he's still got, I think it was, 23rd out of 41 in seeding, which is
he's putting in serious time then. Yeah.
I mean, well, you know how much courses alone have changed in that time.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, the back end will still work really well on that, because Jeff did a really good job with those bikes. But the geometry-wise, you keep your seats looking at it. Look how short the bike looks and how high and steep it is compared to the older stuff. Man, it must have taken him a few runs to get used to that thing. But,
I bet.
But it's kind of cool because tech has come a long way, but it just proves that a classic 4-bar rear end still cuts it, even now.
And we're going to get back to this in retro, so hold that thought.
Yeah, cool. All right, so just because I thought it was a cool picture, have a look at this shot from Pauline Ferrand-Prévot's Instagram page of her Lux. The colour looks amazing. I don't think I've seen a cross-country bike look that cool.
It does look good, eh?
I've got to say, her kit looks a bit plain, but who cares? She's an amazing rider. But that bike looks absolutely gorgeous.
Blue forks, who'd have thought? Who would have thought? Honestly.
It does look rad though, the multiple colour, like the burgundy, the sort of cyan-y colour, I guess you would call that, and then the coral. All clashing, looks mega. Nice cross-country bike by all accounts as well, 100mm travel front and rear, super lightweight.
Well, it doesn't seem to slow Matthew van der Poel down, does it?
No. That's a lesson in how to ride a cross-country bike.
If it does, how good is he?
Yeah.
He's unreal.
And there's also something else I spotted on Instagram. So the designer behind On One Bikes and Ragley Bikes is now designing shoes. Brant Richards,
Oh wow, is he?
Yeah, aka Shedfire.
Oh, nice.
So have a look at this on screen. There's a few shots, and his Instagram page is called Feetogram. I can't see any actual brand name other than the Feetogram thing. But what he's showing looks pretty interesting, I think. And he's a seriously good designer of all things, so I've got high hopes for whatever it is he's coming up with here. But look at that heel profile.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think sometimes asking people to design flat pedal shoes, because people want the skate look and they want performance.
Yeah.
And sometimes the two it's interesting meshing of priorities, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he can do it. I mean, he's made some incredible bikes. He's clearly
super observant as well of what other people do. I don't know if you ever saw it, but the Only What's Necessary shoes, the Own brand, they had the removable booties on the inside. I can kind of feel like he might be looking at this type of thing, but haven't heard from them for a while actually. Need to see what they're up to because those shoes were really cool.
Yeah, really cool.
I've got high hopes for these as well, so check them out. And the last one, just a bit of sleuthing around on Instagram. I noticed this really cool photo of Miranda Miller on her Instagram page. And in the comments, it kind of suggests that she was doing some sort of video with a new Kona bike. And obviously looking through the comments to see what people are talking about. I saw the mention of the 111 and I'm like, oh, I would love that bike to make a return. So I think that was one of the most underrated 29ers. I had 111mm out back, 120 on the front, and the later one had 130. It was like a jump bike in 29er variety. It's unreal. But she shoots it down in the comments. So she's like, no, it's not one of those.
Oh.
And she actually says, referencing Operator e-bike.
Oh.
So maybe Kona are doing that. Who knows? Like she might just be stirring the pot up a bit. But I've always had a bit of a weak spot for Kona. I know I've made some wacky bikes over the years. I think everyone can not forgive them for the Magic Link. But
well, the Magic Link was a dark period.
It was.
But they went through.
It looked like I made it in the garage. So.
But you know how they say you're not a petrol head unless you've owned an Alfa Romeo.
Yeah. Kona's one of those.
Unless you've owned a Kona Stinky, and just hucked it 6 foot to flat.
Unless you live in Portugal, of course, you probably don't want to own a Kona. It means something very different in Portuguese, apparently.
So now it is time for Bike Cave, where we show where you work on your bikes. So we've got sometimes some pretty in-depth jobs.
Yeah.
And it is no different this week. And we're going to start with Will from Arkansas. And he says, he negotiated with Boss Lady for a spare garage bay to set up as a cave. Now the tools, parts and chems are all where I can find them. I fully accessorise the cave with tunes, a video and a beer cooler, so it's a great place to tinker and think. I really enjoy building a bike exactly to my needs and have just the right combination of parts. When you folks get over here to ride Oz trails, I'll have a cold beer for you all.
Awesome.
Now, William, before we even get into the Bike Cave, you know how old Dodster gets confused with the mention of Oz? He's going to be talking about Wellington and Queenstown within a heartbeat. So let's keep it on the straight and narrow, get back into business with this Bike Cave before we offend a whole subcontinent.
I don't have any, I've just been shot down by my teammate. I don't know what to say. What I can say is, I like the fact you've got GMBN pint glasses, so yeah, I'll definitely have a beer off you if I ever make it over to New Zealand. And then, and I love the fact that you got one of our workshop aprons as well, because we did have 2 in here and someone has stolen them in our building and we haven't got them all. It's really annoying. I can't guarantee that I haven't got one of them at home, but there's definitely one missing. I love what you've done with the place, Will. It looks really good. Loads of room in there. Very envious of that.
Seems to have his bikes in storage, but on little rollers to be moved around, which is pretty cool. Almost like kind of like an exhibit,
Yeah, it's an art installation.
Yeah, really nice.
Well, I guess with wheels like that, you could say they're like an art installation.
Yeah, totally.
I'm a fan of spoked wheels, to be honest. Although I do like the Louth fork, I've got to say. I have a bit of a weakness for strange forks.
I think it's pretty cool. If you're going to have a leaf spring fork, if you're going to have a fat bike, why not? Why stop at tri-spoke wheels?
Yeah, keep going.
That's not the British. I want more. Let's get some flamethrowers. Let's get some...
Flamethrowers?
Let's take it to the limit. Let's get a 36er is what I'm trying to say. Oh, but no, it looks super tidy.
Piping on about that flipping 36. Nightmare you are. Jokes aside, very cool setup in there. See, you've got some Ryobi tools down the back, nice TV up the top. Don't know what you're watching, it's got a helicopter on it. It should have 2 idiots stood behind a bench, kind of resembling us, I think. But big roll cabs, loaded no doubt with cool tools. Pegboard at the back. Is that an air gun? No, it's a crossbow.
A crossbow. That could go on. That could be a handlebar mounted crossbow.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, now we're talking.
Go and hunt some roadies.
Just when Strava just goes too far.
Definitely, it's a good place to hang out. I really like the art installation, sort of mobile work stand things.
Yeah.
They're very cool.
Yeah,
I think nice. You watch this space, Blake will see this and be like, oh, we're going to do another Blake Makes thing.
I mean, do you think with your bike stored as it is with those wheelers, you can just bungee strap on the tow bar and just take it to the trails like that?
Just straight, just tow it.
So thank you for sending that in. That was, solid work. And don't forget, you can upload your bike caves with the uploaded link below. So yeah, get them in.
Yeah, 100%. We love seeing them, guys. Okay, now it's time for Rewind. This is where we get to ramble on a little bit about old retro mountain bike stuff. So if you've got anything old or you want to know about the old stuff, let us know in the comments under this. You can also send us stuff to our uploaded link, which is just the bottom of the screen right there. First up this week is from Nigel. It's a Specialized Ground Control comp from 1997. I remember selling these in bike shops back in the day. Super nice bikes, got that classic FSR rear end on there. The Horst link, of course, which is Specialized licensed, and they're still kind of used today.
Yeah,
really, which is, I think that's amazing to see.
Totally.
They've got it right the first time round. Of course, they've marginally tuned it a bit over the years.
Well, that's what I think. There's so much. I'm not saying there's not a place for new bike brands, but credit where it's due. Specialized have been banging on about Horst links or 4-bars for over 20 years, and And sometimes, I'll always call a spade, and sometimes that kind of rubs people up the wrong way. But that being said, this isn't a spade.
It's not a spade, is it?
This is some diamond encrusted, ivory handled garden secateurs. This is real nice. I like this a lot. It's so in keeping the way he's kind of restored it, and I think it looks great. Super nice.
It is, although I'm not sure about the position of that crud catcher, I've got to say. Nigel, that's a bit suspect. I can see what you're doing because you've got the fender on your fork arch there, and you've got the crud catcher down below, but I'd put it back up where it's supposed to be honest.
Yeah, potentially, that's a fair shout. But looks all pretty tidy. That kind of, the water bottle is somewhat in the firing line on the back of the seat tube, but I guess no more so than probably ones on the bottom of your down tube.
Yeah, in the dog egg division.
The dog egg division, yeah. I don't know what the ingestion point is of dog eggs before you do turn blind, but if that were to happen, it would be all the more horror to not be able to admire such a magnificent bicycle.
Wait, you sound like my granddad. Where did you get this stuff from? Love it. No, it's good. Good to see it's still being used as well. And you've also slackened out the head angle, which is quite cool. I like the way you've done that. So, had the bike since new, swapped out the standard elastomer forks for a cool Spring Tourer 302. Slackened it out nicely. Good effort.
Yeah.
Like it.
Solid.
Nice one, Nigel. Thanks for that, Nigel, and please don't forget to keep your Rewind entries coming in. And also, speaking on the topic of retro stuff, we have a retro week coming up on GMBN and GMBN Tech. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff all to do with the archive side of mountain biking and the history. And what I want to know from you guys is if you've got any specific questions, we're going to do an Ask GMBN Tech all about retro stuff. So any questions you've got, get them in those comments, or you can email us at hellotech@gmbn.com. Cheers.
So now it's time for top mods. Now this doesn't always have to be a huge undertaking. We're not asking you to rip apart your bikes and reassembling them. It's where we just show off the work you do on your bike. So please do get them in. It's always good to have a little chat and see what people are getting up to.
Yeah, 100%.
And first off, we have Colin with his Kona Precept 120. And this bike has gone through, one hell of a transformation, a glurp if ever there was one. It looks...
decent bike, to be fair.
Yeah, good bike anyway, don't get me wrong. But everything has been, I think pretty sensibly done. You know what I mean? Like, good set of wheels. The fork hasn't gone for some stupid long fork. It's,
nice.
It's in keeping with how the bike was intended, and I like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you put some money into this one, Colin. Fair play to you. You say how long you've taken doing this? I'm guessing it must have taken a fair old while, because you've done most things. I like the fact you've done the pictures almost in the same position, so you can see what you've changed by flicking between them there. Look at the fork at the front, can't tell. Is that a rev or is it a pike? Probably a pike, isn't it, I'd have thought?
Yeah, I think it does say...
It's a Yari.
Yeah, a Yari.
Even bigger, nice.
But it's still such a great chassis on that. Yeah, super nice.
And then the Mavic wheels and the Magic Mary and Hans Dampf combo tyres. Looking good.
Even changed the shock, which is, going into it. So a lot of people kind of forget about the shock when they get it. They just think it'll make do, but it does make a big difference. I think bars, grips, everything.
Seat posts, literally the whole lot. I'll tell you what, you've taken top mods to a new level, Colin. You've basically done everything except the frame.
Good on you, man.
But just goes to show, when you're buying a bike, you want to look at the fundamentals. So stuff like the frame is really what you're building on. So don't be too sort of tempted by the components hanging off a bike. You've got to make sure the frame's good in the first place.
Not even the water bottle survived his transformation. He was ruthless. Next, we have some submissions from Paul, who is from Detroit. And it's basically kind of been his practicing, his welding, and he's come up with some creations. One that utilises, I believe it's a fizzy drinks bottle, but it's got NOS written on the side, which is a really nice detail. But it's cool, I mean, you've got to practice somewhere. Why not? And rumour has it, Chris Porter from Mojo's hit him up for a job regarding wheelbase length. You know, he's onto it.
They look like good pub bikes.
Yeah, I think I'd be tempted just to put, run it no pedals and just have like an adult balance bike. You know, just lean in. Maybe a brake would go down well. But yeah, super cool. Good on you, man. I think that's rad.
The Scrap Burger bike. Good names too. I don't favour trying to pedal for a rooty section on the purple number though.
No, I mean...
So BB's a little on the low side there.
You ever seen that hydraulic press channel? You know, where they
squash stuff.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see head angle on, you know, if you just welded it yourself, how strong, how much force it would take before the wheelbase gets even longer.
I don't know if I'd want to see that, to be honest. It'd be quite scary.
Yeah, it probably would be quite scary, yeah. No.
Hey, nice effort, Paul.
Yeah, rad.
Thanks for sending those in. Like it. Don't forget to keep your entries coming in. We love seeing all this stuff. And now it's time for Tech of the Week, and this week we're looking at a hydraulic headset system. So this is basically a detangler, like an old gyro that you used to see on BMXs. And I know that Chris over in EMBN, he used to have one of these. He used to absolutely love this, but this is the latest one. It looks really cool. Yeah, so Trickstuff brought out the Trixer a number of years ago, and it was, in theory, fantastic, but I think even they admit it was flawed by a lot of kind of drag and things like that. It was quite high as well, like the stack height of it was quite big. Reliability issues, and they basically said, we're going to get it right. Mm-hmm. So, speaking to the guys at the Trickstuff, they've actually gone kind of over their marketing budget with it. Sorry, not their marketing, over their budget. Just their budget full stop. Just their budget full stop, to try and make something that is reliable and kind of in keeping with the rest of their products. Mm-hmm. And it's, an incredibly clever piece of kit. Being able to use a hydraulic brake that's essentially decoupled from itself in a way is really, really clever. Yeah, I'd like to see how they work. I guess it's didn't the old system have like a bladder that pushed against a bladder and it kind of rotated? Yeah. So, which in itself is quite ingenious, a good solution. Yeah, and they were just when I was working for Polygon, we were trying to get one for Sam, but they were just like, not until it's absolutely perfect. That was well over a year and a half ago. Wow, so it gives you an idea to show you how kind of thorough they are. And they've also got a really cool bottom bracket. Well, it's the left-hand side cup of a bottom bracket, for which you can install a varying amount of seals, which that's interesting to load stop them spinning. Stop them spinning, No more inner tubes. Basically tied around the left-hand crank then. And I think it's really cool for what is such a small market. That Trickstuff is actually saying, you know what, we're going to make the parts. Maybe it's going to go over budget, but I think you can see a lot of the top pros using them. Because there isn't anything for that. I just think it's a wicked idea. I think it's super cool. Just made, just genuine passion and, love for engineering. I think it's really rad. I'm taking a guess there'll be nearly a fist fight in the office between Blake and Chris to try and get one of those first. They both love that stuff. Just chuck one in the middle. I'd quite like to see one, and if we get one, maybe we can do a video on fitting it to Blake's bike or something, so we can have a go on it. We'll try and figure that out. That'd be rad. I think it's awesome. There we go, another weekly GMBN Tech Show in the bag. What are you going to throw to this week, Henry? I'm going to throw to Neil's trip to the Orbea factory. Where he basically custom painted his own bike, and it actually satisfies the nerd in you. It goes into some incredible detail, and he's also got some great riding footage from Spain as well. Yeah, it looks awesome up there, down there. I'm going to throw you to your Tool Hacks video, actually. Oh, cool, I think that's a wicked video, Henry. Make sure you check that one out. Don't forget to give us a huge thumbs up if you love what we do here at GMBN Tech, and click that subscribe button if you haven't already done so.